Chapter 24 Miracles. There are only two ways to live your life. One is as thought nothing is a miracle. The other is a thought everything is a miracle. Albert Einstein. The American Christian drama film Miracles from Heaven changed my life immensely. It was quiet and emotional movie, and I wept while I watched, but at the end of the movie I felt the peace and joy I have not felt in a while, and a reassurance that God is still in the business of performing miracles. We just have to position ourselves to receive them. I highly recommended that you all watch it, as it is an awe-inspiring movie. Now I would like to share a miracle that was given to me in 2013. In March 2013, I did not have a job and I was miserable. I was so depressed that I hated myself. I went to countless interviews, some in remote areas of Lagos, Nigeria, that I did not even know existed. It was an exhausting cycle of rejection emails. Each time I got my hopes up, they came crashing down. I stopped praying and went about my life sad and beaten down. All the change, however, on Sunday night, I remember vividly not wanting to go for that Sunday service because I had already gone to church in the morning and I couldn't be bothered to go twice. However, my mother made me, so I reluctantly went to the room to look for a scarf to cover my untidy hair and follow her. I was too broke to even do my hair. We were a little late, so the worship session was already underway. I just sat quietly at the back and put my head down. However, at some point during the worship, I started humming along, and before I knew it, I was overwhelmed by the love and presence of God, and I was singing at the top of my lungs, completely oblivious to my surroundings. After the worship came the word, and it felt as though God had told my pastor everything I was dealing with. I remember my mom looking back one time to see if I was hearing what she was hearing. Then it was time to pray, and I did something I had never done before. I walked to the altar, laid on the ground, and told God all my frustrations and that I wanted a job as soon as possible. I did not even care who was watching or that my clothes were stained. All I cared about was emptying my heart at my Savior's feet. The service ended and we went home. We had just walked into the house when my phone rang, and a very well-spoken lady asked if she was speaking to Amara. When I confirmed it was me, she started to apologize profusely for not calling me earlier. She said I had an interview scheduled for the next day, which was Monday. I was rendered speechless and just a little confused because I had no clue who she was, how she had gotten my number, and what company she was talking about. She told me to look out for an email with details and that she'd seen me the next day. I was dazed, to say the least. I ran to my mom's room, screaming and dancing, and my sister and I figured out what I was going to wear the next day. I was so clueless about the company and the interview I was going to that I had to read about them on the bus ride to the island. I got there and I could not believe my eyes. The environment was so serene and I got such a warm reception. The two ladies who interviewed me were so friendly and awesome. It felt like we were three old friends catching up with each other. To cut this long story short, it all played out like a dream. I went for a follow-up interview with the CEO, and in a matter of days, the job was mine. It was so surreal, but God didn't end there. 2 days after I resumed, I went on an official trip during which I met a governor for the first time in my life, and I was paid enough money for the trip to buy myself a new BlackBerry. To date, the ladies who interviewed me, who by the way are now two of my closest friends, refused to tell me how they got my resume. I never applied for that job. In fact, I did not even know the company existed until got there. But somehow they got my resume and hired me out of the 10 more qualified applications. The divine perfectly orchestrated my working for that company. The first time I traveled to America, the company sent me with all expenses paid. It was like a movie to me. I found myself at the White House taking pictures, and it dawned on me how far God had brought me. I live in America today, and I would never have been able to take my master's degree program here if I had not gone on that first trip to Washington, D.C., which was sponsored by my company. You see how one miracle sprouted many more. It's a gift that keeps on giving. I am sharing this story because I've been going through some difficulties times lately, and I have so completely focused on all that has been going wrong that I forgot the relentless generosity of God in my life. God brought me to America against all odds. I have learned never to limit God and His infinite powers. Miracles still happen, and if they can happen for me, they can certainly happen for you. By Amarchi Adago Uwanaka.